40 years ago, in April 1986, a nuclear explosion rocked the Soviet Union. Not just machinery blew up. Hundreds of thousands of lives have been shattered ever since. Today, we look at Chernobyl's aftermath, the real health effects, and what the data tells us about its human toll. At 1:23 a.m. on April 26th, Reactor 4 at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in Ukraine suffered a catastrophic steam explosion. Massive amounts of radioactive isotopes, including cesium-137 and iodine-131, were released into the air. Winds carried contamination far beyond the Soviet Union. What are radioactive isotopes? Why is this important? Let's look into this. They are called radioactive isotopes, meaning they give off harmful radiation. Two invisible substances caused most of the damage after Chernobyl: iodine-131 and cesium-137. Iodine-131 was the fast killer. It spread through the air, food, and especially milk, and went straight into the thyroid gland in the neck. The body thinks it's normal iodine, but it's radioactive. It is very harmful to children. This is why thousands of children later developed thyroid cancer. Scientists say iodine-131 was the main cause of thyroid damage in the first weeks after the disaster. But then came the long-term danger. Cesium-137. This one behaves like potassium, so the body spreads it everywhere: muscles, organs, the whole body. And unlike iodine, it doesn't disappear quickly. It stays in the environment for about 30 to 40 years, contaminating soil, food, and entire regions for decades. So while iodine caused immediate damage, cesium kept poisoning people slowly for years. After the explosion, nearby populations were not evacuated immediately. Pripyat, a city of 50,000, stayed exposed for 36 hours. The fallout contaminated soil, water, and agriculture across Ukraine, Belarus, Russia, and beyond. People living closest received the highest doses. Firefighters, plant workers, and emergency personnel were hit first. The UN Scientific Committee on the Effects of Atomic Radiation, UNSEER, reports that acute radiation sickness killed at least 28 first responders in 1986. But that was just the beginning. The clearest documented health consequence is thyroid cancer. According to global studies, thyroid cancer rates among those exposed as children increased dramatically in Ukraine, Belarus, and Russia. By 2005 to 2016, children exposed as young children had 10 to 100-fold increases in thyroid cancer incidence compared to unexposed populations. UNSEER, IAEA, consolidated reports. Many of these cancers would have been preventable with early intervention and stable iodine prophylaxis. Studies published in peer-reviewed journals show increases in other cancers, including leukemia, breast and lung cancer, especially in the most highly contaminated areas. The 2006 Chernobyl Forum report, compiled by UN agencies, estimated roughly 4,000 additional cancer deaths among the highest exposed groups: emergency workers, evacuees, and residents of contaminated areas. But other scientists, using broader epidemiological models, estimate 10,000 to 60,000 excess cancer deaths across exposed populations, depending on exposure assumptions and models used. So while exact numbers vary, there is consensus. Cancer linked to Chernobyl radiation is far higher than early Soviet estimates. Thyroid disease remains a major legacy among those exposed as children. Beyond physical illness, anxiety and depression rates are significantly elevated. Loss of homes and communities. Long-term displacement. The UN reports that mental health consequences often outweigh physical radiation effects in affected communities. Large areas of forest and agricultural land remain restricted. Wildlife has returned in surprising numbers, but studies show genetic damage in some animal populations due to chronic low-level radiation. This is back in that day where we go back so you understand what shaped today. Chernobyl was not a one-day tragedy. It was the first global nuclear catastrophe whose consequences continue to unfold decades later. It changed public trust in nuclear safety, how governments respond to disasters, how science tracks long-term risk. Today, as we look at 40 years on, the lesson is stark. Nuclear accidents do not stay in the past. They live in the bodies and communities of survivors.